Target and Walmart buyers, they really do not care about your Instagram ad budget.
No, they definitely don't.
Right. I mean, when a retail buyer is deciding whether to hand a startup, just 18 square inches of highly coveted shelf space, they're looking for one very specific thing to mitigate their massive financial risk.
And it's not a slick marketing deck.
Exactly. It's actually what strangers on the internet are typing on their phones at 2 in the morning.
Which is wild when you really think about it.
It is. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are exploring a really fascinating article by Johann Jacob. He's the president of Retailbound, which is a retail channel management consultancy.
Right. And he has a ton of experience with this stuff.
Yeah, and our mission today for you, the listener, is to uncover this secret weapon that product startups use to expand into these massive physical retailers.
Because getting a spot on a physical shelf provides just a totally different level of validation compared to e-commerce.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, e-commerce gives you instant global reach, sure, but physical retail, that is a whole other beast.
Yeah, the internet gives you infinite inventory space. But a physical retail shelf, that is finite real estate.
Very finite.
And because it's so limited, the gatekeeping is just incredibly intense. Buyers aren't just looking for a cool product, They want undeniable proof of existing offline demand.
Right, and Johann's central premise here is that the bridge between an unknown startup and a national retail shelf is online customer reviews.
Yeah, it completely rewires physical retail strategy. It's not just about getting 5 stars so you look good on a website. It's digital social proof, translating into hard offline data.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand why reviews matter so much, we first kind of have to get inside the head of the ultimate gatekeeper, right? The retail buyer.
Yeah, they are the ones holding all the cards.
Exactly. And I kind of think of the retail buyer as a cautious bouncer at an exclusive nightclub.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Right. So imagine an unknown startup walks up to the velvet rope. They're wearing a slick suit, which is, their packaging and their pitch deck.
Right. They look the part.
Yeah, they look great, and they tell the bouncer they're going to bring a great vibe to the club. But the bouncer isn't going to just unhook that rope based on a nice suit.
No, definitely not.
They are looking down the street to see if there is already a massive cheering crowd lined up around the block, specifically to see this brand.
And the reviews are that crowd.
Exactly. The reviews are the crowd. So why is that buyer, that bouncer, so skeptical to begin with?
Well, you have to remember that the buyer is heavily incentivized to say no. Trust is absolutely everything in retail.
Because of the financial risk.
Exactly. If a buyer puts a product on the shelf and it just sits there and doesn't move, they aren't just missing out on potential profit, they're actively losing money per square foot.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that shelf space is expensive.
Very. They take a huge hit on inventory turnover, and honestly, they're potentially jeopardizing their own career if they make too many bad calls.
So they operate entirely on risk mitigation.
100%. So long before a startup ever gets, a calendar invite for a pitch meeting, that buyer is actively doing their homework.
Like checking Amazon and stuff.
Yes, they are checking Amazon, they're scraping bestbuy.com, they're crawling the brand's own direct-to-consumer website.
Just to gauge that unvarnished customer sentiment.
Right. Because strong reviews signal 3 vital things to a buyer. First, the product actually works. Second, customers are satisfied with it. And third, the brand is gaining real traction.
But wait, if I'm that cynical bouncer, my immediate thought is that, well, crowds can be rented.
Oh, for sure. Bot farms and paid review rings are a huge issue.
Right. So if a startup just floods their product page with generic 5-star reviews that say, great item, highly recommend, how does a sophisticated buyer actually trust that?
Well, they look at the texture of the reviews, not just the volume.
The texture, what do you mean by that?
So a sudden spike of generic 5-star reviews right before a retail pitch, that is a massive red flag.
Oh, I bet. It looks completely unnatural.
Exactly. Buyers actually used sentiment analysis tools. They scanned for natural language, verified purchase tags, and nuanced feedback.
So they want to see real stories.
Right. They want to see customers mentioning specific use cases or talking about how the product solved a hyper-specific problem. That texture acts as digital word of mouth.
It carries the weight of a recommendation from a friend.
Exactly. It proves the crowd outside the club is made of real human beings.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. We know reviews build trust with the bouncer, but how does that translate to the hard metrics that retailers actually care about? like sales and discoverability.
Well, this is where the data becomes impossible to ignore. The source material cites this bright local study, and the numbers are staggering.
Yeah, 91%, right?
Yep. 91% of consumers read online reviews before making a purchase.
91%. That's almost everyone.
It really is. And think about in-store behavior. When a shopper is standing in an aisle.
Oh, like staring at two similar products on a physical shelf.
Exactly. Two products, similar price, similar packaging. What do?
They pull out their phone. I do it all the time.
We all do. We pull out our phones and search for reviews right there in the store. And the brand with the better feedback wins that offline sale.
The irony is just wild. Purely digital text on a screen directly dictates physical, offline human behavior. You are literally deciding which physical box to grab based on a digital review.
What's fascinating here is the flywheel effect this creates.
The flywheel effect.
Yeah, so every single review is indexed by search engines. So the more reviews you have, the more organic traffic you get.
Oh, right, because real people write reviews using natural language, not corporate marketing speak.
Exactly. They use long-tail keywords. So instead of just ranking for coffee maker, the brand starts ranking for a coffee maker that fits under small apartment cabinets.
Which is what people actually type into Google.
Right. And that stronger keyword ranking increases brand recognition. So this online buzz creates increased demand in physical retail.
And that is exactly the data a buyer loves to see.
Completely. It proves the product will move.
Okay, so it's clear that positive reviews drive sales and SEO.
Yeah.
But Johan's article reveals this completely different hidden value to this feedback loop. And it happens long before a brand even meets a retail buyer.
Yeah, this is probably one of the most overlooked aspects of reviews.
They are essentially a goldmine for unfiltered market research.
Yes, exactly. They act as a free, highly effective research and development department.
Wait, does this mean a negative review like, say, complaining about a flimsy zipper or a confusing instruction manual could actually be a good thing?
Yes, absolutely.
Really? Even if it drops their star rating a bit?
Especially then. If the startup actually uses that feedback to fix the product before pitching Walmart, buyers love that.
Okay, that makes sense. Because you're showing you can adapt.
Right. Brands use these reviews to discover which features customers talk about most, what the barriers to purchase are, and where their competitive advantages lie.
It highlights opportunities for new sizes, colors, or bundles, right?
Exactly. And it exposes hidden quality control issues that the startup's internal team might have just completely missed.
Because focus groups are kind of artificial environments anyway.
Right. But thousands of people using your product in the real world, that is real data. Buyers love brands that evolve based on that data.
It shows operational competence.
Exactly. It reframes reviews from just being a marketing tool to being the core of your product development.
So knowing the immense value of all these insights, how does a startup practically gather them? And then how do they package them to actually win over the retail buyer?
Well, the playbook for this requires some very deliberate strategy. You don't just sit back and hope people leave reviews.
Right, you have to actively collect them. What kind of collection tactics are we talking about?
So brands will use automated follow-up emails, for starters.
Sure, the classic, how did you like your purchase email?
Right. But also putting QR codes directly on the physical packaging so it's super easy to scan, and using post-purchase SMS reminders.
Oh, text messages, those probably have way higher open rates.
They really do. And you can offer perks like early access to new product launches.
But wait, a crucial note from the source here.
Yeah.
These are perks for the act of reviewing, not compensation for a positive review, right?
Yes. That is a massive distinction. You cannot buy positive sentiment. Platforms will completely ban you for that.
Yeah, that's a quick way to ruin your brand.
Absolutely. You are just rewarding them for their time, not their specific opinion.
Okay, so that's collection. What about engagement? The article mentioned brands need to respond to these reviews.
Yes, and they have to respond to both positive and negative reviews.
Responding to negative reviews makes sense, like for damage control. But why the positive ones?
Because it shows you actually care about the community and continuous improvement. It shows the buyer that you won't abandon the customer once the product is off their shelf.
Okay, so let's say a startup has done all this. They have thousands of reviews. They're engaging with the customers. How do they actually pitch this to a buyer?
Right, you can't just hand the buyer your phone and say, look at our website.
Yeah, I kind of picture the retail pitch meeting like a courtroom trial.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
The startup is the lawyer, right?
Yeah.
And the reviews are the evidence.
Exactly. You present your star ratings, your total review volume, and specific customer quotes.
So the quotes are like Exhibit A, Exhibit B, and Exhibit C, undeniable evidence of demand.
Yes. You also bring in category comparisons. You show the buyer, look, our sentiment summary is outperforming the legacy brands you currently have on your shelf.
Oh, that's a power move.
It really is. And there are some great real-world examples of this playbook in action.
Yeah, the article mentioned Casper, the mattress company,
Casper is a fascinating case study.
because selling a mattress in a box online was just a crazy concept at first.
Right, nobody was doing that. Buying a mattress without lying on it first, people were super skeptical.
So how do they use reviews to fix that?
They used a massive volume of reviews to validate the concept. They had that 100-night trial, which generated a ton of feedback.
And that digital credibility helped them expand.
Yes. It drove their expansion into Target and eventually their own branded brick-and-mortar stores. The review volume proved the demand was real.
Wow. And Warby Parker did something really similar, right?
Yep, Warby Parker used rave feedback from their at-home try-on program.
Right, where they made you 5 frames.
Exactly. They used all that digital social proof to smooth their transition from being just online only to having highly successful physical retail locations.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, having this review strategy established really builds your reputation before the product ever hits the physical shelf.
Exactly. That is the deciding factor for a retailer. It's the difference between them offering you a small, maybe 10-store test order
Right, dipping their toes in.
versus granting you full national distribution right out of the gate.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener?
It means reviews are absolutely not vanity metrics.
They aren't just little gold stars on a web page.
No, they are a literal retail growth engine. They build trust, they optimize your messaging, and they provide undeniable proof of demand.
Yeah, whether you are launching a startup or prepping for a corporate pitch, or honestly just curious about how products end up on your local store shelves, the voice of the customer is the ultimate currency.
It really is. The buyers are looking for the truth, and the crowd provides it.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Something that builds on Johan's point about engaging with negative reviews.
Oh, I think I know where you're going with this.
Right? Because if responding to negative reviews shows buyers that a brand is dedicated to continuous improvement,
Which we know they love.
could a startup with, say, a 4.6-star rating and a track record of actively resolving customer complaints actually be more attractive to a giant retailer?
More attractive than a brand with a perfect 5.0 rating.
Exactly. A perfect 5.0 rating that might look, frankly, a little suspicious and manufactured.
Honestly, yes. I think a savvy buyer would trust the 4.6 way more. It shows resilience and real-world testing.
Perfection is suspicious. The 4.6 shows you're real.
And buyers are betting on real.
Exactly. Well, thank you for joining today's deep dive into the hidden mechanics of retail expansion. Keep reading those reviews, and we'll catch you next time.